Abuja is a city of dreams. It is also a city that eats the unprepared for breakfast. To survive here, you need more than a good product. You need strategy. Welcome to Gift Unwraps. Today we're in the capital territory to tell the story of growth. She started from the cold city of Jos and today she's dominating the capital. Welcome to the world of Cakes by Arch.
Welcome to the stage where dreams ignite. Gift unravels here to shine a light. Entrepreneurs and talent that inspire. Trailblazers who reach higher and higher.
We want to meet with your team.
Okay.
So can you give us a tour and the place?
Welcome to the stage where dreams ignite.
So at the front desk today, we have Hilary. He's our manager, but he's filling in for the customer rep today. Say hi, Hilary.
Hi.
Okay, so come this way. Let's decorate her so she makes our cakes look beautiful.
Hi.
She makes our beautiful, delicious tasting cakes. She's a baker. Say hello, Mary.
Hello.
Okay. Hi.
So what are you doing now?
She's creaming the pan so that the butter doesn't stick.
Delicious.
Yeah, we have some cakes that just came out from the oven. Yummy, fresh, and delicious. So some of these cakes just came from the oven. These are size 8 inches. This is a 7 inches cake. They are all vanilla cakes here. So they are just out from the oven. We are keeping them to cool down. Is there anything in the oven? You can come close and see the cakes. Okay, left cake, not further because of video. Yeah. So here we have Sharon. Sharon makes our cakes look beautiful. She's a cake decorator here. Yeah, so these are some of the team that are on ground today doing some work.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Nice to meet you too.
This is such a vibe. So can you take us back to how you started?
I was just discussing with my friend one day and I was like, we need to make some extra cash. What can we do that we can easily combine with studying, because I was a law student at the time. And then we just arrived at baking. Baking looks like it's when I decided to start baking, I had never baked a cake in my life. Then I started researching and learning, and I couldn't even afford to go to like a formal baking school at that time. After the university, going to law school, I stopped baking because law school was full time, and NYC too, I wasn't baking. But when I came back and I started practicing as a lawyer, I decided to resume baking, and one thing led to another, and I quit my practice and and now I totally focus on running my cake business.
Okay, that's so interesting to know. So basically it was, you just wanted something to add extra cash.
When I was practicing as a lawyer, I started running a master's degree program in an LLM at the Nasarawa State University in Kefi. I was still staying in Jos, so I used to shuffle between Jos and Kefi. But and I was still working in my law firm at that time. And in that period of time, I could take more orders because I was studying from home. That means I was mostly at home. Whenever someone asked me for a cake order, I could take it. So I made more cakes since I was studying mostly. But I made more cakes in that month. And as a startup lawyer, the pay isn't so encouraging. So the cakes I made that month were drawing me more extra cash than the lawyer did. And I was like, his law, that was when I started to research. I remember that this job, I had been practicing for about 2 years at that time. I just told myself I wasn't going back to law until I could get a better offer. Not that I wanted to quit law for baking. I just said, okay, I'll take a break from going to this particular place and practicing, apply for a few positions and see if something works out, and the pay is better, I'll go back there. If not, baking is more financially rewarding. And that was how I started.
This is quite interesting. I want to ask, when you're back resigning from a job, there's this tension or anxiety you have, like, okay, what if I don't succeed in this next thing I'm going? Did you ever had that?
Like I said, it was different for me because I didn't really say I'm not doing law again.
Oh, okay, just trying to
and it was a final decision I took at that space. It was like, okay, let's do something else before something else happened. So the tension was a little bit lower. So even in that time, I applied for a few jobs. It wasn't like I was fully in it. And after about A few months baking at home, like 6 months, the business was too much for me to handle alone. And I said, okay, I have to get a space.
Within the space of 6 months, what was that factor that made you just explode it within 6 months?
That I was giving was good. I was passionate about making cakes and I was always experimenting. So my cakes tasted nice. Also, I was a customer care. I was everything about the business and I was doing it quite well. I was running it quite well. And thirdly, it was people around me were quite supportive. And I encountered a lot of people that just wanted to see me grow. So they put it, like somebody, they say carry a business on their head, like people I don't know from anywhere. I've always had that, people always just pick up when they see the drive, that and the dedication I put into my work, they just buy into the vision and they help me promote it. So that was it. It was a combination of all those things. It wasn't that there was no market, all my cakes were the best, but they were really nice and I was putting all my passion to it. I was working almost all through around the clock most time, and that was one of the things I didn't like about baking from home, because I was working at odd hours. I was waking up in the night to work. Because if another comes, yes, I can do it. It's my house. I can wake up and do it. So it was quite stressful. I wasn't getting enough rest. I was just on it all the time.
Okay, so it's more like a combination of these three: a good product, a good service, and then support system.
Yeah, so you had position. Yes, that were helping me market the business.
So, what aside the financial challenges at that beginning points while in JOS, what other challenges did you face?
Okay, so starting up, I didn't have enough equipment, so there was a major challenge. I remember the first time I bought my first small mixer, and the other mixer packed up after a couple of months or so, because it was really small. You couldn't handle the pressure and all that. So apart from that, I was baking from home, so I was using the oven at home. At that time, we had like a smaller oven, so there were some sets of pans that couldn't enter into that oven. So I also had that challenge. And then there was a challenge of working in both, and I'll be the one that will break all the others. I'll be the one processing all the others, components, plus everything. Everything, good thing. You see, one of the things I didn't like in Slack was market runs. That was one of the first things I was so glad to take up, because I'm not a market person. I'm not. But that was it. I had to go to the market and buy these things. And I was buying in smaller quantities because I didn't have movement to buy in that much quantity. I wasn't even getting as many orders to be buying bags and bags and bags. So those were some of the challenges.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's say you dominated JOS, like cakes by us. Anyway, so what actually motivated you to come into Abuja? And what made you think that you were ready for Abuja, or Abuja was ready for you?
Like almost everything I've done so far hasn't been too much strategic planning, but you just bored and his plans and his ways. I had always, when I was starting, when I said the business, when I got that space, a friend asked me to write my vision. What do I see for my business? Where do I see my business? And I wrote it down. It was global expansion and all. But it was just a thought. I had always said, I want to expand to Abuja. I had always been saying it, but I wasn't putting in as much action because of fear. A small business is kind of like a part of me. It feels so personal, and leaving it to open a second branch, was a lot. But God created an opportunity for me. A family friend had a cake. They make bread in that place. It was like a bakery already, and the bakery was in Rabalada, but they didn't have the cake aspect of their own bakery. So they're making any bread. They can't any bread now. Exactly. They needed someone to come in and partner on that front, and then someone just mentioned my name, and that was how it started.
Interesting.
Exactly. That was how it started. We got the space in the Gwagwalada. We worked at that for about 6 months. But immediately we got to Abuja, I had to get a space, settle in, but quickly I realized that Gwagwalada wasn't ideal for my career. Exactly. But after about 6 months, I got a space, let them say 4 months, I said we came. And then I got a space in Zone 6, and then that was how we met to the town side of Abuja, and after that we had to move to the space here.
It wasn't like I sat down and said, hey, this is most times God just knew Jesus.
God's the direction he wants, Yeah.
Okay, still talking about the no. Abuja is different from Jos. So I'd like to know, how did you navigate those differences in terms of rent, in terms of cost of, production? And then you're also trying to keep up with the quality of, what they know cakes by ought to be in Jos. And you just want to bring same quality here in Abuja, but at a higher cost. So how did you navigate all of these challenges, and what other challenges did you face when you came here?
So you come to Abuja, I quickly realized that Abuja is near job. Spaces I could get, at a very, very affordable price. It cost me almost nothing just to start. In Abuja, it cost me a whole lot. Getting my own space, landlords were asking for 3 years rent, start off, demanding more pay in Abuja because of the cost of living. It was also, affecting them and stuff like that. So it wasn't hard for me to realize that I couldn't put the same pricing in Jos and Abuja. I couldn't price my cakes in Jos at the same price as my cakes in Abuja, because at that time, Jos, in short, I had 2 spaces in Jos, and then the rent of the top of the spaces is not even up to. It's like, how will I say it now? Like, my current rent here is more than 5 times what I pay in Jos for the 2 spaces in Jos. Exactly, and this is really a smaller fee, So the cost is not the same. I can't run them as the same. Also, the buyer behavior and almost everything is different in Abuja. Abuja, there's competition, those real competition. You just, I'm like a liquor champion. Because in a small city, it's easy to stand out. In Abuja, it takes a lot to stand out. And people have so many options, like even, if they're saying the message like you don't reply to the next 2 minutes, move to the next. They move to the next. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm putting somewhere else. Like, they have so many options, and the options are also good. So it's not just okay to have a good product in Abuja. You understand? To grow, there's a lot of thinking, a lot of strategizing that goes into place for Abuja. But then, even though Abuja, demands less from you, Abuja has the longer term ability to be more rewarding, because it's a bigger city. If you become more known, there is bigger opportunities for you to grow than it is in Jos. Exactly. So each city has its own peculiarities. I wouldn't say one is better than the other in any way, because I enjoy different benefits from the both cities, but the both combine together to make the business work. And then you add something about quality, earlier on in my business, God brought someone. I'll say a lot about God, because somehow I believe that this business was never my plan. I always wanted to do it, never forced me to do it. Since when I was like 6 years, someone told me that the LPA, they did. And it just stuck. From about 6 years, I said I wanted to be a lawyer, because I argue a little. Later on, I found out that law has nothing to do with who argues past tests or who is the best in arguments. But, that seed had been sown into me from little. So no one forced me. It wasn't like my parents said you must do this. I really want to make that exactly. So, but baking, there was no time I sat down and said I'm choosing this. It was just my circumstances at that moment that kept nudging me. But then, the more I get involved and do, I just feel like I feel this key, because I feel like this is the path God has set me on. Exactly. So earlier on in my business, I encountered someone that was like a friend to me, and then from that point, the person made me to put in little things to structure my business. We had to start keeping details of all our recipes. So from the beginning of my business, since when I moved to the first time being Jos to the first space, we started to structure the business. Everything was written in details. We had an inventory system, what comes in, what goes out. So because everything did a lot of detailing, it was easier for people to work without me always being there. So even without me being there, we have like standard recipe and of the tap which is there. So yeah, that makes us able to give the same quality in Jos and Abuja. And also, I also perform an overseeing role, where I monitor what is being done in both areas. So, yeah.
Okay, I understand that, and you never really planned to do this, but you found yourself there. Well, I want to believe that personally, you have some qualities that actually helped you come this far. Because if you had gone through with luck, you still would make it. Qualities like dedication, having a vision, and all of this. So I'd like you to talk about it. Sorry.
It's okay. So another thing that made me convinced that this is the path God wants for me was the amount of sacrifice I was willing to undertake for this business to be successful. Being a lawyer, if I am the person I am now and I was still there, I would have been successful. Just at that point when I chose to be this, I wasn't a serious lawyer. That's one of the reasons why I was earning that low. I feel like if I put in the same energy I put into running my business, growing my business, learning about how to build my business, I would end up being a better lawyer. But being a business, like, this is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life, like owning a business. It demands so much of you as a person, first of all, than as the business itself. So the business is like a reflection of me. I have to keep evolving into a different person at different stages.
Consistency,
exactly, work,
vision.
It's what it demands from me, from my own self.
Okay.
Sometimes when we reflect back, like you say, it's a reflection. Sometimes when we reflect back, I see weaknesses. And I say this weakness, I ask myself, why do we have this weakness? And sometimes I discover that it's because of me, it's because of a character flaw that I have. So it has made me to work on myself, on being more disciplined, more dedicated, crying. And then, I had that with something stuff. And then at the beginning of the year, we come together, we plan, we set plans in motion, and then we tell them, okay, this is what we want to achieve, this is what I think we should do to achieve goals. It also puts pressure on me, because I've told them this is what we should be working on as a leader. As a leader, I have to also make sure that I don't come back empty-handed next year until nothing happens. People are here buying into your vision. They are buying into that vision. So, some past experiences that's okay, is this going to be just empty talk? So business has changed me more than I was, but I believe I have some qualities now because I was able to change when the business required that of me. Okay. I had to learn leadership. I'm literally not that. I had to learn what it entails for me to run a business. I had to also learn how to manage it, to manage my emotion. There are some things, like I said, I take the business quite personally. Sometimes it's emotionally tasky. But I had to learn how to manage those situations so that, I could focus on what is best for business.
So let's talk about the business, brand identity and values. What would you feel are the values? And also, the market is saturated. What else takes by Arch? Like, what stands you out?
Okay. One thing I really want for excellence, really, when we come to work, we strive to be excellent. From the process of receiving orders, big customer service, to processing orders, we just begin to make sure the customer feels happy at the end of every single order. Even if there's a problem with the order, we try to make sure that the customer, to make retribution to the customer. So excellence is the watchword for us. We want to be excellent in all what we send out. We want to get positive feedback from the customers at all given time. That's one of our mission statements. Positive feedback from customers at all given times, no matter the situation, and all that. When you talk about competition, I see competition from two places. And if there is competition in your market, it also means that the market is viable, And then I think one thing that makes us stand out is the quality we give out. The quality we give out from every of our products, from the making of the products, deciding them out, the packaging, the customer response, everything about it makes us stand out. And I believe that competition is there to push you to be better. Because there's competition, you can't sit down and say, okay, you've reached this level. It's always what's more can we do to be top of mind in the customer's mind, not more marketing can we do.
Definitely.
Exactly. So I feel when there's no competition, like there's more competition in Abuja than in Nigeria, you know, but then it's a revolving market. There's competition, but if you're putting energy into marketing, into branding, into packaging, and giving a good service, it works here.
Okay, so currently, what would you say are challenges of the business?
Okay, so I would say one of the problems we have is financing for growth, because we look forward to growing, expanding more branches and location and stuff like that. That's one. Secondly, it's getting people that can do the job well. You know, hiring is quite a challenge.
In my time there are
competent staff. And then, you know, because I run a skilled business, requires skill. The lot of people stay in the job, the better they are at it. So it's not a position that is easily filled. If it was like operations, the customer care rep within a couple of months, if I give them a template, they're able to catch up. You see, when it comes to a skill position like decorating cakes, baking cakes, those are things that take someone that has experience. Sometimes it takes over a year to build that kind of experience to get to the level that they can work without any form of supervision. So that's it.
Where do you see Chicks by Arch in the next 3, 5, 10 years?
The future is about expansion. Like I said, one vision I always had from the business, starting small in just was becoming a globally renowned brand and then becoming a household name. So the time in 2 years, in 3 years to 5 years, you should have been in more states in Nigeria and have more branch location.
If I am an entrepreneur, I just started, I know you have a lot of experiences. What advice would you give to me, my business?
Okay. So I'll say to an entrepreneur that is just starting up as a cake, you know, may they say in the cake business, I'll tell you that the most important thing for you to have is grit. You know, marketing business has taught me a tough skill. Like my shock absorbers are like this. Because as a business owner, you come in, there's always one problem. You are just literally a problem solver, and this is your business, so you are the point of all. You have to solve different issues, you know, make sure the business runs. So it's easy to get frustrated, especially because of the environment you're operating in Nigeria. Nigeria sometimes, you know, when you are trying to put in your best, they bring out one just something. It might be the government, it might be people. They always bring out something that, you know, makes you will feel destabilized. So to run a business successfully, you need perseverance, you need grit, and you need lots of hard work, you know. So yeah, I'll just advise that person to persevere even when, you know, things seem tough. They should just focus on the vision, you know, and let the vision guide them.
This story is a reminder that your location might start small, but your vision shouldn't be. She unwrapped her potential in Jos, but she's skyrocketing in Abuja and global. Thank you so much for watching. One question I want to ask you, if you're a business owner, what's stopping you from moving into the next level? I wanted to drop it in the comment section. And by the way, if you need to give yourself a treat in the city of Abuja, you know where to come. Cakes by Arch. Okay.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
Stage where dreams ignite.